Hi, everybody. I can never tell when this thing starts recording, so you may have just seen me trying to figure out this fluff of hair thing that I've got going on here. But anyway, welcome to Tri-State Live on Facebook. Today's Friday, April 9th, 2021. We'll just wait a couple of seconds, as people get logged on. Welcome to everybody. And that was a little embarrassing as I'm trying to figure out this bouffant thing that I have working there. Um, to start out, as per normal, if you're driving, please don't turn this off and don't watch it. It'll be recorded and saved online on our YouTube channel and Facebook channel as per normal. For those of you who aren't driving or are able to jump on, we appreciate you. And feel free to send in comments, questions that we'll get to. Nathan, hi from Michigan. Daniel Ginger. Yeah, it's just all the face I made. Um, so anyway, these the things about these Facebook Live, nobody's ever really super comfortable doing it, and Riley, does a great job of organizing them and setting them up. But one of the toughest things she has is getting volunteers to do it because we all feel, I think, silly. Like we're not natural in front of the camera. It's not what we do for a living. It's not something we've been trained on, and so it can be a little uncomfortable and awkward. We've invited drivers, to participate with us before. Others, safety and operations and shop and it is a little uncomfortable. So that's why typically it's Cheryl and I, but it's we got to kind of be able to make fun of ourselves a little bit because I watch him as like, oh man, it looks silly there. You can always tell when you've gained weight and feel puffy and all of those kind of things. So that's just part of it. One of the things that I do want to kind of plug as we're again people are getting logged on. One of the really cool projects that Riley is working on, and she'll talk more about it, I assume, in future Facebook Lives and more announcements, is a podcast. That way it's not like, Facebook Live where it's a set time. We're going to get a podcast going. It's called The Wheel Time with Tri-States, and I think it's a really cool, catchy name. And then it'll be available, hopefully, everywhere that you can normally get podcasts, and you can just download it or stream it and listen to it at your convenience. And her plans, I know, are to invite some drivers to participate with her, that kind of stuff. So again, just in an effort to share more information and just to have more transparency with drivers and office and just all of us as co-workers in general. We're you know what? This is Russ calling. Russ Thompson. Hold on a second. I need to let him. He's on Facebook Live. Hey Russ, you're on speakerphone. I'm doing Facebook Live right this second here. Can I call you back in about 15 minutes?
Yes, you can.
Okay. All right. I'll call you back. All right. So that was Russ. Okay, so we'll get going here. Nathan, Miguel Escalante, hi. Kyle, hi. No best, mid masters. Yeah, that is a good point, actually. Um, Nathan, never thought about having drivers doing a couple. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we'd love to have you, drivers either do Facebook Lives or, the podcast, we're talking about. If you're volunteering, Riley will certainly talk to you, there. Melissa, hi. Yeah, Daniel. I think Daniel Ginger just called me fat. They said I look 20 pounds heavier, there. So, um, yep. Okay. All right. So I think we caught up to everybody. We'll get going here. Speaking of social media, a couple of things. I just want to start. Again, Facebook has his great uses. Facebook Live, being one of them. But there's also some challenges that we have, especially as a secure transporter, and the work that we do, and just sometimes human decency, appropriate content. I mean, it's things are sent my way. I spend probably 10 to 15 minutes a day on Facebook. It's hard for me to do much more than that. Sometimes as part of our job or part of what we do, we need to spend time on Facebook. I mean, we do some advertising on there, and but one of the cool things when I am on Facebook is to see the pictures of our drivers. Whether it's their family, whether it's their, the Metcalfs, and their boating adventures, and I know, Robin Roberts is doing a meatless march, and is interesting, following that. And so those things are really cool. But more often than not, I have to go on there because something's been sent to me, about, the content that's not appropriate, that's offensive, that's could even put their, clearance in jeopardy. And so just as a reminder, I mean, it's I wish social media was just reserved for pictures of kittens and dogs and sunsets and grandkids and children, type of thing. But it's utilized for much more than that, which is fine, But I just think we need to be cautious. As part of our security clearance in social media, I think it's useful to remember. Be careful disclosing your locations, what kind of freight you're picking up. We have had times in previous years where the Department of Defense has contacted us and said, hey, this content is not appropriate, and the driver has to be released, and we've had to do that there. So in the past month, I've noticed one of our drivers shared a picture of the truck, and not even intended to. The Qualcomm dispatch info was in that picture, in that photo. Be very careful of that. I mean, it's there is secured information that can be accidentally disclosed in your pictures. One of our office personnel asked one of our drivers on Facebook, "Hey, where are you headed?" And the driver replied, "Hey, I'm picking up this load from this location," and those are things that we need to be cautious of, there. So it's just a word of warning, and we use social media so intermittently, changingly in our lives and everything that sometimes I think we forget, and we can get careless, and remember with our clearances in particular, we need to be very aware and very sensitive, there. So um, Robert Evans, hi from South Texas. Hope you're feeling better. I understand had a procedure there, so okay, Nathan. Also, everyone, please wear your masks. COVID stuff should not be taken lightly. We all need to stay healthy. All right, I do want to make a comment on that, Nathan. Thank you for bringing that up. Okay, COVID is still a thing. Okay, and again, there's the politics of COVID. There's the health aspects of COVID. Okay, I'm not interested in discussing the politics of it, and where we fall in that. All right, COVID is very real. We've, as a company, have weathered it as well as I suspect most companies our size have. We have had some sadness, we've had some tragedies, from that, but we've also been lucky and blessed to have some successes, as well. um, I, a couple of things here. One, we're as you come into the Joplin terminal, Phoenix, locations, we're no longer going to require the filling out of the health disclosure form, that we were. Nonetheless, okay, I mean, if you come into the office, the big house, the Phoenix office, masks are still required. Masks are still required, of office personnel, that's, if they're not at their work, place. And similarly, I would, perhaps offer that as a similar guidelines for drivers. If you're not in your workplace, in your workstation, i.e., your truck, consider having your mask on. I mean, it's again, I'll be honest, COVID's not something that I'm super concerned about, but I carry a mask with me. And when I see others, that with the mask on, I put it on because I know, and it's more out of courtesy, if nothing else. And I think sometimes that is lost, in our society these days. I mean, it's, I'm all for Second Amendment. I'm all for, defending my rights and, and so forth. But I also am willing and feel the need to be courteous, to my neighbors and associates and just random strangers that I'm with. And so Nathan, thanks for that comment. And for us, some of our customers still required. Doesn't matter what the state regulations are. The federal regulations are often different. Customer regulations are going to be different. We've had complaints from customers saying, "Hey, your drivers won't put a mask on. They feel like they shouldn't have to." Type of thing. Guys, this isn't about us and our rights and our opinions and so forth. If our customer requires it, we need to comply. With that. But when you're in your workstation, i.e., your truck, and rolling down the road and everything, then you can have your own rules. There. So anyway, I don't want to go through that more than that. But if you have any comments or questions about that, please let us know. And it's just simply a matter of it's the world that we're in today. We can fight against things we can be successful with, or we can save our energy. And you know what? This is something that is perhaps more important in a large scale, and we'll be successful in fighting there. So anyway, William Bell, hello to you as well. One of the things that back to the social media here, real quick, actually, that was really cool. One of our drivers, and I don't know if she's on here. She often is. Dana Anderson. I just wanted to commend her. She, shared a photo of something that came up in her pre-trip inspection, which is phenomenal. I mean, appreciate you doing the pre-trip, inspections. Sharing what you found. I mean, I think it was a tire issue, to others and fellow drivers. That tire issue was left for her. She took care of it. Wasn't fair. I mean, all of us as drivers and all of you as drivers, know how frustrating it is. When you're ready to roll and you pick up a load and you assume that everything is good, and the driver that left the trailer or piece of equipment behind left a problem for you to fix before you can get on with your day. That's very frustrating. But Dana, thank you for seeing it and be taking care of that. And maybe just a thought and comment, to let's help each other. Just make sure that we leave the equipment in as good a condition as possible, or at least, even if we don't have time, if there's circumstances that you can't fix the problem, make sure you give a heads up. Hey, I don't like it, but I'm leaving this piece of equipment with a bad tire or something like that. For whatever reason, I've got to go do this, but I don't want that to be a surprise for the next person. And we can at least give a heads up to the next driver, or make plans, for that piece of equipment to be taken care of. So anyway, um, all right. But yeah, kudos again, to Dana for sharing that, and sharing that with us. The final thing that I want to talk about is, we had an owner operator call, just for all the owner operators, this past week, or actually last week. And one of the subject matters is, the litigious world that we're in, right now. And one of the major threats to trucking companies in general are these nuclear verdicts. If you're not familiar with that term, it's these companies that, and if there's an accident, if there's a violation, or so forth, then oftentimes unscrupulous lawyers are chasing money, and sue the company to such a degree that they're out of business. And obviously, many of those lawsuits are even perhaps necessary, to for accountability to the industry. As professional drivers, we have a special responsibility, more than a normal driver. But we also know that we get taken advantage of. And all of you guys see it, if not every day, every week. Where you guys are put in really difficult situations. And sometimes you feel like you're in an impossible situation. There. We do have the Lytx dash cam cameras, there. And many of you that are on here, or several of you on here, I know, have experienced where it has saved your career, certainly saved you from violations. Having that evidence that that we were in the right, that our professional drivers did what they were supposed to do, and we've got the photographic evidence, to prove that, and it has saved us in many situations, there. And so it's we want to share some tools with that, with all of you, and in the coming month. Our goal is to give you access to everything that we see, so you'll be able to see, your activities, from your truck, what's going on, as far as any warnings, as far as video issues or something like that. And just so you can see, for yourself, again, we don't do all, the different things, and the lane avoidance and everything, for us to be big brother, and us to just monitor your activities. We have all of these things, for the good of the safety, for the good of the company, for the safety of our customers, the safety of the public, and to protect each of you as well. So in the coming month or so, we'll be sharing that information with you guys as well, or you'll be able to look it up yourself, actually. So that'll be exciting. In that theme, I mean, it's the issues that we're always most concerned about is rear end issues and front end avoidance. The rules. I mean, if you rear end somebody, it's going to almost always be your fault, no matter what the conditions, no matter what the circumstances, or so forth. I mean, our cameras can often defend us, from unscrupulous claims or whatever. But my our counsel and my encouragement to you is try to avoid the situation. I mean, it's leave that, for big trucks. Smith Systems teaches 7 to 10 seconds, right? I mean, 1 second for every 10,000 pounds, I think the rule is. The Smith system. So anyway, it's just be aware of those things, and the safer that you are, the safer the company can be, and vice versa. There. So that's it that I have for right now. We're heading into spring, summer weather, so hopefully most of the snow and winter conditions given relief. Again, if you have any thoughts or comments or questions that you want to discuss, please let us know. Happy to discuss it. But in the meantime, please accept our gratitude and appreciation for all the work you do. Thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend.